Hello and welcome. Today I'm playing Kingdom Hearts 2.5 Final Mix on critical mode. I'm continuing from the last part. We just went through the Timeless River and we unlocked another area here. And we're going through to the Port Royale so we can progress through the game. Most of these gummy ship missions are pretty easy, so it's going to take some time to talk about some additional stuff that the game has. So besides the gummy ship being much better than the first game, it's more of like a arcade type shooter, and I'll explain a few of the things that are going on screen. First, on the top corner on the display for the player, there's a little like shield symbol with like pips going up and then a yellow number just to the right of that. So that's like your rank. Basically, the more enemies you kill and those little coins you collect, the rank will go up. And once you reach the max rank, which is a requirement for one of the missions, you will go into hyper mode, which will give your gummy ship extra attack and speed, allowing you to finish off enemies and the levels faster. Basically what you want to do is defeat enemies so a rare version of the enemy show up, or one of those large enemies there, and you get special items. Collecting the items just lets you build different gummy ships, but as a lot of people who play this game know, the best gummy ship is just a big square with a big hole in the middle and a few guns. It's honestly that's the best way to go through it, because as you'll see, a lot of enemies tend to hit towards the middle of the hitbox, and when you're constructing your ship you can just build completely around that, so most bullets will just go right through your ship. The second number there is the number of enemies destroyed. So right now I got 114, as you can tell, and then obviously the score, which racks up per hit and defeating enemies, which pretty much only matters for a high score challenge that you unlock after defeating the additional missions. The variety is pretty good, especially because once your ship is more advanced and you're able to go through the missions, they slightly vary, which lets you get additional content, especially in the score attack mode, where it lets you switch between the screens. See here, it automatically changes the screens for you, but in the score attack version, you'll be able to swap between behind you, left, right, and forward using the shoulder buttons, and you can do that at will, which basically allows you to hit things or decide what you're attacking more than just on this on-rails sort of part. I'm pretty happy with the way they did this in this game. I would say that for the third game, I believe gummy ships are coming back from the last news that we saw, but I hope it's something a bit different than this. This was really good. It destroys the first iteration by miles. It's actually pretty fun to play, especially if you're trying to get the max ranking, which is, I believe, double S. So it's pretty hard to get. It does become enjoyable once you have enough equipment and items to fight all the bosses and all that, so you'll be racking up a lot of points. Okay, so we're going to be heading to Port Royale. We're going to meet some characters that everyone probably knows, so they do modify the stories a little bit in this game, but mostly pretty much everything that happens in the movie happens here. There are some differences between the Japanese version of this game and the English version of this game, which I'll kind of highlight once we get there. This world is a bit more gritty than what you would normally expect from a game, this game, Kingdom Hearts. So for a portion of these cutscenes, I'm not going to be talking unless there's something important. so you can kind of get the gist of what's happening. So, basically, the first iteration of every world you go to, normally there's a Heartless to fight, and then you will be returning again to every world, basically to stop the organization members who are threatening them. Each world kind of reflects the organization member that is here, which is a pretty interesting touch because a lot of the organization members are based on classes from the classic Final Fantasy series. So it's pretty cool that they also fit them into the worlds, and it allows for like a good dynamic. I guess Beast Castle is one of the best examples of that. This one's not too bad either.
Aztec treasury?
Aye, and thanks to the curse put on it, we are neither among the living nor the dead.
Really? 'Cause you look like regular pirates.
So the
to
way they
me.
did this was pretty ingenious. They actually swap models, so they become undead. During gameplay, you'll see shadowed areas and light areas,
Now I get
and
what you
that
were
the models
saying.
get swapped out as soon as they get into a shadow or light-filled
Well,
area.
if you see two
So pretty
doofuses
good
and a
tech.
rat
They did a
holding
really good job with
keyblade,
it.
steer clear.
I was quite
They
impressed.
got a kind of magic that don't belong in this world, see? And nobody knows what it'll do to you. Especially when the moon's showing what you really are.
A match for Barbosa, you say?
Hey!
See there? I knew it.
Yeah, go ahead and drink.
Those are the punks I was
If you're playing that
telling you
drinking
about.
game, you'd probably be dead
Who
by
are you
now.
calling punks? It's Sora, Donald, and Goofy to you, and don't you forget it.
That we won't. And we'll engrave it on your tombstone, to be sure.
Whoa,
Okay, so you get a little
I like your
sample
style.
here of the what you expect most of the fights to go versus the pirates. They are really strong. They're also unkillable while they're in the shadows,
Aw, we only
and
get
they
to
take
stomp on
no
a few
damage.
of you?
So you kind of gotta lure them into the bright areas. As you see right now, it's all shadowy on the floor. I think you can just die in this fight, but I believe there's also a timer. So they do have some reaction commands. Their guns have been replaced with crossbows in the English version here, but the gun sound effect still goes off when they shoot.
We can't beat them.
I guess they just didn't want a visual representation. Over here, Pete kind of gives you a little hint about what to do, obviously, this is another interesting thing in this game. It's kind of evolved in Kingdom Hearts 3 once we start seeing the footage and gameplay, especially in 2.8 final chapter prologue. Using fire sets them ablaze, so they actually they stop fighting for a little while. Using ice magic freezes them solid, and thunder magic kind of shock them into place. Magic is really good against them. They do deal a lot of damage, so Sora can die very easily to almost any of their attacks. So here we made quick work of them. Obviously Pete's gonna run away because he is a loser, so we'll see him in a little bit. Yeah, you could have used that in the fight to knock around the pirates, but it's not really something that you want to do. So Miss Swan is captured, and we got our hero here
Let me go!
going after her.
Elizabeth!
Unfortunately, it would have been cool to have William as a team member,
Oh, they
since Jack doesn't show up until later, but they opted to just have Jack because obviously he is the most popular and well-recognized character from the Pirates of the Caribbean movie series. So, unfortunately, they couldn't get Johnny Depp to be the voice actor. It's a pretty good approximation. It's slightly jarring when you first hear it, but it's pretty good overall. It's not too bad. Usually the voice directing in this game is very good. There's only a few things that are kind of like jarring or a little off when you first hear them, but everything's good. The hit sound effects are amazing. The music is mixed really well. The composer for Kingdom Hearts did an amazing job. She's great. All the songs, including the themes, are very good. And let me lock onto something that's like not even in the battlefield here, so that was a bit weird. Okay, so yeah, he's like a really good fighter, but can't kill the Heartless. Especially, I mean, if you've never seen one before, it'd be hard to fight one of those things. Especially the Shadows. So it seems that the Keyblade defeats the Heartless very easily, but other weapons could defeat them potentially, but I'm pretty sure they just end up coming back, which is the problem. I guess like once the Keyblade releases the hearts that are trapped in them, that's how they are just killed for sure. Which is another effect from this game where killing the enemies releases the hearts, but there's also an added effect to it, which is actually it's story related, which is pretty interesting. That once it happens, you kind of notice it because they highlight it in a cutscene. That's trying to cheese that jump over there, but I guess we need high jump level 2, which I don't have quite yet. All of your abilities in this game that are shared abilities, like high jump or flying and stuff, are done through your drive forms, so you just gotta level that up. And once you level them up enough, Sora will get the added version of that in his regular kind of roster of skills, and you can just equip and unequip them as you like. Okay, we're gonna fight. There's not too many pirates here in the beginning, but this world does have some difficult fights, especially in critical mode. And if you're playing level 1, which I'm not for this particular run, but I have done it before, it is grueling, especially for speedrunners. It could be a make it or break it part of a run, because the number of enemies and because of all the added layer of complexity of the pirates and how their mechanics work, it's a pretty difficult fight.
Then she's long gone. The Black Pearl is nigh uncatchable. Best find yourself another
Okay, we got the
girl,
man
mate.
himself here.
You? What are you doing aboard the Interceptor? She's off limits to civilians.
So Sora's still
Fortunate
mostly
that
a
I'm
little
gonna
kid.
commandeer her then, to make a fine
The idea of being a
ship.
pirate is amazing.
Pirate?
So he's way into that.
Captain Jack Sparrow, if you please.
Take me with you. Help me hunt down the Black Pearl and save Miss Swan. I got you.
So they kind of catch up to speed here with some backstory about the beginning of the movie.
You'll have to win fair lady's heart alone, mate. I see no profit in it for me.
Come on, Captain.
Are you sure you can sail her? All on your own?
Yeah, welcome aboard. We're all pirates
You have a
now.
point there.
Thanks.
Yeah, go ahead and
Sparrow.
drink again.
Captain Sparrow.
I'm Sora. This is Donald and Goofy.
I'm Will Turner.
So they're kind of sidestepping the story a little bit and giving you some additional information that becomes important later. Obviously, it's a key piece of information in the movie, and also for this game too. It's pretty important.
You really want to be a pirate?
Of course not.
What do you make of this Will?
I don't know. We just met him.
I think my luck's about to change.
Yeah, we're just gonna steal all his potions here, obviously, because what is he gonna do with them besides waste them? So they're better in our hands. Take a quick look. Okay, don't need anything here. That's fine. His auto limit is not on until later, so that's also fine. Treasure Isle, that's his joint limit. Usually not used in speedruns at all, it does take up too much time, but it's actually visually very appealing and a pretty cool limit. I'll probably do like a limit showcase video once we get through all the worlds. So the reason I'm keeping Hero's Crest on here is because it does additional damage for the number of hits you deal, and it's very high attack. Right now, magic is not as important until we get through mid to late game, so by then I'll already have more balanced keyblades that will give me boosts in both.